When you posted that it was 2 weeks away, I was like, oh,
Okay, we will call to order the June 3rd City Council meeting. Would you call the roll, please?
Griffith. Here. Jason Blair.
Here.
Melissa Hunt.
here.
Louis Williams.
Here.
Adam Webb. Rob Clark.
Here.
Mark Ham.
Here. Would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item C is proclamation declaring July as Parks and Recreation Month. So I have a proclamation that I'll read and then present to our Parks Director. It says, whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the Moore Parks and Recreation Department, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illness such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition service, and education. Whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, whereas Moore, Oklahoma recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore, I, Mark Ham, the mayor of the city of Moore, do by here proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month in the city of Moore, signed this day of June 2024. Thank you. We appreciate all that you do. Now we'll move on to item 2. It's the consent docket, and when a council member makes a motion to approve the consent docket, we just need to state it in such a way that it includes items A through, in this instance, C.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent docket, items A through C.
Second.
We've had a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, please?
Kathy Griffith.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes, consent docket is approved. Item 3 is consider approval of the FY 2023-2024 annual budget and adopt resolution number 7624.
Mayor and Council, the fiscal year 25 budget anticipates sales tax revenue of $36,100,000. The amount will be very close to the sales tax revenue for the current fiscal year. The use tax budget of $6,200,000 will also be very close to the current fiscal year revenue. We should receive our June sales and use tax later this week. Our budgeted general fund capital outlay is $1,823,032. New positions include a building inspector, inspections clerk, and 2 dispatchers paid from the general fund. The 911 fund will pay for an additional dispatcher and an emergency communications training officer. The general fund also contains a $250,000 contingency budget. The city will receive an $890,000 cybersecurity grant to replace cameras and DVRs in the city buildings. Hotel motel funds will be used to pay for drainage projects in Buck Thomas and Little River Park. The parking lot in Kiwanis Park will be replaced, and playground equipment will be installed at the 5th and Markwell Park. The 1/8 cent sales tax will fund water line relocations for the GO bond projects passed in November 2023, replace a water line crossing I-35 south of 34th Street, a water line at Northeast 3rd and Turner, and a water line in the Southgate addition. The half-cent sales tax will fund capital outlay totaling $1,364,300 for police, fire, and emergency management. The MPWA budget includes capital outlay of $1,179,689 for 2 new sanitation trucks and routing software. The MPWA budget also contains a $400,000 contingency budget. This budget also includes borrowing $5 million for the purchase of land in and adjacent to Cleveland Heights, an expansion of Fire Station 1, City Hall remodel, and the initial design for a public safety facility. The Finance Director and I have had individual meetings with all of the council members. A public meeting was held on May the 6th. There were no comments. The total budget for fiscal year 25 is $129,495,368. Recommend approval.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. Would you call the vote?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark.
Yes.
Kathy Griffith.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. I know it just took us a few minutes to approve that, but it took a lot of work and effort on your part, as well as the other department heads putting that all together. So thank you very much.
Yep.
Item 4 is consider authorizing the budgeted purchase of a battery-powered Amicus extraction equipment to be placed on the new rescue squad in the amount of $42,331 from Davenport Fire Equipment Sales as the lowest quote.
Mayor and council, this extrication equipment is budgeted for the new rescue squad. It'll be our first set of battery-powered extrication equipment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And that's the equipment that's used to cut into a
The
vehicle?
jaws of life
Yeah.
to
Okay.
pull cars apart when people are involved in an accident.
Previous one's been powered with.
The gasoline motor and hydraulic
Okay.
hoses,
Okay.
and these will be rechargeable battery, much more mobile,
Yeah, very nice.
more modern.
Motion to approve.
Second. Second.
We have had a motion and a second. You can call the vote.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark.
Yes.
Kathy Griffith.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. Item carries. Item 5 is consider approval of a contract renewal with Two Oaks Investment LLC doing business as Consolidated Benefits Resources to provide workers' compensation claims administration in the amount of $2,000 per month.
Mayor and council, this is a contract renewal with Two Oaks Investments. They do business as Consolidated Benefits Resources, or CBR. What they do is they provide workers' comp administration. They make sure our bills are processed and they're paid. This year, we are actually expanding some of their services. They are going to be providing for case managers in certain cases that we would recommend to them. These case managers, what they will do is they will follow up with appointments. If there's a referral to a specialist, they will assist with that. So there is additional services that they're doing for the first time. In previous years, we paid $1,700 a month. This renewal is $2,000 per month. We have been using CBR for, I'm going to say, over 20 years, and it's been $1,700 a month. This is the first increase in that period of time, so we would recommend approval.
And again, Brian, that increase, a lot of the increase has to do with the additional services being provided?
Yes, that is where that $300 came from, the additional services, yes.
Motion to approve?
Second that.
We have had a motion and a second. You can call the vote, please.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark.
Yes.
Kathy Griffith.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes, item carries. Item 6 is consider declaring 6 mowers, 1 tractor, and 1 gooseneck trailer, more practically described in Exhibit A, as surplus.
Mayor and council, the attached list of equipment has all been replaced, and we are now using newer equipment, and this will be auctioned off.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. No more questions. Would you call the vote?
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. Item carries. Thank you. Item 7 is consider approval of a contract with Handyman LLC for restoration of the pond located at North 27th Street and Shields Boulevard in the total amount of $21,100 as the lowest quote.
Mayor and council, this quote will include removing all the liners, all the rocks, cleaning the rocks, completely cleaning the area, and reconstructing the ponds to make them look and work better.
No, that's great.
Okay, does this, is maintenance being addressed with this at all?
Yes,
Okay,
it is. It's included in, for
Okay.
5 years, I believe.
okay, thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We had a motion and a second. You call the vote?
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes,
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes, I'm glad we're able to address that. It's been in need of some attention for a while, and Shields Boulevard, 27th is a big entry point into our city, so we want it to look good. Item 8 is recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting, the consent docket.
Make a motion to approve the consent docket, items A and B?
Second.
I've had a motion and a second. You can call the vote.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
yes,
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. Item passes. Item 9 is consider approval of the FY 2024-2025 annual budget and adopt resolution number 26824.
Mayor and council, just a companion item to the previous city budget, recommend approval.
motion to approve.
Second?
Would you call the vote, please?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes,
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. We'll now recess the Moore Public Works Authority meeting and convene the Moore Risk Management meeting. Item 10 is the consent docket.
Make a motion to approve the consent docket, items A and B?
Second.
Would you call the vote, please?
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
yes,
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. We will now recess the Moore Risk Management meeting and reconvene the city council meeting. All that were present are still present. Item 11 is new business, citizens forum for items not on the agenda. We did have one person sign up to speak, a Mr. John Phelps. You just come on up and state your address for the record, and then you'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is John Phipps, and I live at 1121 Bronze Metal Road. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some issues that are going on at the city park Buck Thomas that I live directly across from. Here in the last several years, and I've lived on this corner 17 years, so I have a lot of experience with the changes and things that have gone on. And here in the last few years, the noise and just the general, busyness of the park has increased dramatically with a lot of the services that have started to be offered, back in 2012 with the skate park and the revamping of the tennis park. And then it seems like a lot of improvements have been made, but there's been no improvements towards the noise when it comes to how are we handling it. There's no signage anywhere that says anything about park hours or ordinances or rules or anything of the sort. The lighting doesn't shut off until almost 2 in the morning, so people think it's okay just to be out there at 2 in the morning. And I know some of this is tied to, the softball park that's there. I completely understand that. But, the majority of the busyness at the park is during the summer. So the other 9 months of the year aren't accounted for when it comes to a lot of these issues. A lot of the issues boils down to, noise, kids racing up and down through the park at night, stereos, engines revving, racing up and down through the park, just some general things that have become a nuisance. It seems to get worse every year. I know, Mayor Mark, when you were council member, me and you actually have talked on the phone about it in previous years. So I just had maybe just a couple suggestions that I think would maybe help. The police officers that have responded when I've had to call super late at night have been extremely helpful. And they've made some suggestions that would maybe make their job easier. Some of the things that would make easier maybe to curtail a lot of the speeding and things through the park. There's only maybe 6 speed bumps that are even through that whole park. So when the new loop was added, you know, with all the new parking, there's no speed bumps actually through any of that. So people can just turn in, you know, race all up and down through there. There's nothing to arrest their speed or stop their speed. The speed bumps that are there, they're hundreds of feet apart. They're probably 100 or more feet apart. So improvements to that would maybe help. And again, I leaned on like the signage. There's no sign at the entrance of either entrances of Buck Thomas to say, hey, here's the proposed park hours, here's some noise ordinances, you know, here's general info about the rules of the park. And then, of course, like I said, the lighting. Some of these things I think are just changes that could be made that would help, that wouldn't cost any money, you know, to the city. I know signage and speed bumps and some of those things are administrative costs, so those would actually cost money. But I was just speaking to Chief Gibson, and there's maybe some other things we can maybe do to help curtail some things, but I just didn't know kind of my steps were and wanted to kind of air some of that out because, you know, like I said, the 17 years I've been there, the last 3 or 4 have been just getting worse and worse and worse. And it's kind of the point where I thought I might need to maybe involve the council, mayor, and kind of see what some solutions were, you know, to help.
So it's activities, not like our sponsored activities that are the problem. It's
No.
other activities that are happening.
And you know, it's
Yeah.
kids. I mean, I understand. I have a 15-year-old myself. And some of the issues that I see is that the park now closes at midnight. And, you know, as me having a 15-year-old, I don't want my son out of park at midnight. And I understand that some of those hours, like I said, are tied to the events that go on with the softball. But, you know, to me, we could still have a reasonable park hour that does not affect the softball activities. You know, the park doesn't need to close at 12:01 every night, every day of the year. So I think that would help along with the signage and the lighting and some of the other things to cut down some of the activity. What the officers have said when they respond is that the people that they're telling to say, hey, you might need to move or leave is, well, we didn't know the park was even closed because the lights are still on.
Right.
So, you know, I can't argue with that, you know, but I think with some of those changes and some of those things, it would really help. It would ease the burden on when I have to call at 12 o'clock at night because somebody's out there just blaring their stereo. And I mean, just for specifics, I live directly across from the park. So where the water tower is, and then you have the entrance on that side of the park, my house is right here. So I get the bulk of, you know, a lot of the noise and stuff. And while my suggestions would probably only help 10 or 12 households, it would still probably make a big impact to the area because it would slow the area down as well. There's not as many people coming and going, and it would probably help a lot of the stuff that happens farther down, away down 12th Street between Eastern and Bryan as well.
Are the lights currently on a timer? Is that?
I think they are, and the only reason I say that is because they seem to go off at the same time every night.
Yeah.
So I definitely know there's
If
not
they're on
somebody
a timer, it
driving
should
out there and,
Definitely be going off when the park closes.
yeah, they go off much later. I haven't really been able to time it because I try not to be up that late, but on the times when I've gotten woken up and had to go out, I'll notice usually it seems like around 1 in the morning, they start to click off sometime around there. Now, they do click off at different areas around the park, so they're not even synchronized. So some areas will go off here and they'll still be on, you know, in
I
other
know that
areas.
the ball tournaments, they're gonna have to leave those on until their game is over, but the tennis courts and some other places could
Right.
just go.
Correct. And I think the one that I noticed most recently was the tennis courts. I don't think it went off until almost 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I don't fault anybody for wanting to be at the park and take care of the park's activities, but there has to be a happy medium. And happy medium is not midnight.
Yeah.
I
So-
think we could have Sue get with her team and come up with some recommendations
Sure, yeah.
that we could visit and then see what we can do.
No, that's great. Thank you,
And
Mayor.
thank
City
thank you for bringing
Council.
it to our attention.
Yes, I
Thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nobody else has signed up. Is there anybody here that would like to speak about something pertaining to city government? Is there any items from the city council trustees? No, I'm good. I just, one couple, the 4th and Eastern, between 4th and 19th, all of the concrete has been poured. I think there's just one little spot, just a little, it doesn't impact traffic, and some of the sidewalks there's gaps in the sidewalks that they're gonna be working on. But visiting with Jerry and and Brooks, this is for the benefit of anybody that's watching, they're supposed to come out next week, weather permitting, and do the striping. And as soon as we get that, we'll be taking all those traffic cones down and opening that street up. There'll be periodic lane closures as the construction crews out there working on sidewalks. But for the most part, it'll be open for traffic. And we definitely appreciate everybody's patience with that and cooperation. It's been a real challenge, and there's nobody more thrilled than Jerry that is going to be done. But we'll be starting some more soon, but hopefully we won't have those same issues. So I just wanted to say that. And then also, I wanted to recognize our police chief, which I know he's real excited right now, Todd Gibson. He was awarded the 2024 Chief of the Year for large cities of 15,000 more by the Oklahoma Association of Chiefs of Police. And that is quite an honor to be recognized by your peers. And we're thrilled that you're working here at the City of Moore and leading the men and women over at your police department. So congratulations, and we appreciate the job that you do for the entire City of Moore in helping us have the best police department in the state. Thank you very much. City Manager, did you have anything?
Just a couple of things. Would like to thank the department heads for all of their help in putting together the budget for fiscal year '25. It's a 4-month project, starts in February and essentially goes all the way through the end of May for the vote, the first part of June, and so appreciate all their help. And in fiscal year '25, on July the 1st, Deidre Ebry will be promoted to an assistant city manager, so congratulations.
Oh, no. Congratulations. And I forgot, we had our Veterans Memorial Service out at Veterans Park that was hosted by the Moore American Legion Post, and they did such a wonderful job. Kathy McMillan was out there and got to say a few words, and I got to say a few words, and it's just wonderful, wonderful event. And thanks again to the parks people being there on their day off and ensuring that all went well. So that will move us to item 12, executive session. Section 307, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes permits the public body to meet in executive session for certain specified reasons under certain specified conditions. It's the opinion of the city attorney that the city council may consider and adopt a motion to meet in executive session to discuss the following items. Item A is discuss and consider the acquisition of property known as Donna's Razor Cuts located at 209 Southeast 4th related to the construction and maintenance of the Southeast 4th Street Railroad Underpass project, and authorization for staff to proceed as directed in executive session as authorized by 25 Oklahoma Statute 307B3.
Make a motion, we convene the executive session.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second. You can call the vote, please.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes, we'll be in executive session. Okay, we will reconvene from executive session. Again, all those that were present are still present. Item D is action.
I make a motion to proceed as directed.
Second?
I had a motion and a second. You can call the vote.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes. Item 13, adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Call the vote.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Rob Clark,
Yes.
Kathy Griffith,
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes, we're adjourned.